Did you know that 50% of the businesses opened by immigrants here in the United States disappear within 5 years? Yes, lacking strategy, wisdom, and spirituality. But there's a woman, a former ballerina, who serves as both CEO and CFO. With her experience, she is now developing a method, very advanced in financial matters, in order to help you. I'm referring to someone who can assist you. None other than Priscila Cosentino, who is affectionately called Pry. In a bit, here on Biz Na America. Don't go anywhere. We're back on Biz Na America, and today's special guest is my mentee, lovingly referred to as Pry by me and those who know her well. Pri, I'm so glad to have you here on Biz Na America, which is affiliated with CNN and now on Open TV. 5.9, right? TV Connect USA. Pry, what a pleasure to have you here. You know, I've been hoping you'd be here because I want people, especially Brazilians and immigrants, to discover what you've been working on. Because you're offering financial freedom to the immigrants in America.
Firstly, Alexandre, it's a pleasure to be on your show, Business in America. To you watching from home, it's such a joy to be here discussing something truly phenomenal with you. When we discuss finances, as you mentioned regarding entrepreneurs and how to manage this content, if we don't have financial planning, it becomes significantly more challenging, particularly when venturing into a new environment. I think the biggest challenge for many of us bring as a challenge with difficulty is because we have our background. We grew up, we learned about finances, many more effectively while others less so. However, our greatest challenge is realizing we are entering a new environment, a new market with new cultures, and giving up what we're familiar with to learn the new can lead to huge challenges, especially for business owners, as it's an entirely different system.
Completely different, right? When I stepped foot the sole of my feet here in America, we saw that everything was different. The process and being obstinate doesn't work in America. Here, there is no stubbornness. If any immigrant from any nationality does not understand how things work, they will pay a very high price. So it is necessary to have competent people, individuals who know the market, people who are qualified, individuals who hold licenses to genuinely assist the people present. Here, the rules work.
Rules are effective and quite clear here. There are numerous benefits available, outlined in the code, specifically in the tax code when discussing the IRS. These advantages are found in the code concerning financial issues. But we need to know. So, it is very important for you to have supportive individuals in your surroundings to assist you on this entrepreneurial path. Believing I can do things my way, adapting however I want, can lead to the destruction of your business and your family's financial stability. When I make a decision to have the right mentors, the right people around you, the right advisors, you can achieve even greater heights. When I managed to establish this planning, particularly financial and tax planning, I can endure for many years. If I just use my own strength, it will usually be a very hard job that could result in an unfavorable outcome.
What was your turning point? Your key moment in leaving Brazil and coming to the United States? How long have you been in the U.S., and how did you acquire this extensive experience in finance? Everything ties together, right? It's just leaving there, coming here, and boom, the reality of today.
Well, starting with the first part of your question, I've been here for over 10 years, but my exit from Brazil involved many journeys back and forth, especially during one of my roles there. I was responsible for the finance sector of an import business that exported and sold exclusive collectibles in São Paulo, one of the biggest firms in the region, with stores in malls and a complete e-commerce system as well. And because of this part of the company, I traveled back and forth to the United States many times.
And
With lots of negotiations and trips, I came over once.
And we know already.
And we stayed here. I met my ex-husband back then. We began dating, and as a result, I had to make a choice. There are many ways to maintain long-distance relationships, but I warn you in advance. You need to be determined to live this relationship because it is very intense. That was a pivotal moment. I needed to be here or I had to be there. In any case, our relationship didn't last for many reasons, but in making that choice, I moved to America, and you asked me how my experience was here too. Continuing as CFO wasn't a straightforward start because one of the first questions I was asked was, "Oh, are you going to start a business?" When I began researching the market to start a business, I saw a big difference. In Brazil, as CFO, one of my biggest challenges was having the right accountants for my business, because I understood the financial side. Finance, when we engage in financial planning, I look from today into my future. When I mention accounting, I look at my present and reflect on my past.
Yes, that's correct.
And frequently, the methods for constructing your strategy are quite different. Because when I consider my future, I create sales chances and opportunities for building of aspirations and accomplishments. When I discuss accounting, I mean looking at what has transpired and analyzing, using numbers, frameworks, and regulations, the optimal approach for it to allow this business to keep existing. They are two different languages. It's as if I were speaking Portuguese and Spanish. They resemble each other, yet they have distinct differences, and if I'm not cautious, I will encounter situations that could be terrible or very amusing. But when we talk about money, usually, it is always funny. Losing money or wasting it on something unneeded is not positive. So, in this journey, I noticed when I arrived that I needed to halt and return to school to study again. So, in my journey, I went back to UCF. I am an alum, and I love the business field. Integrated business, an incredible major I love, which makes perfect sense as they cover all the essential subjects for a business. And that was my major realization, which I can express. After that, I returned to the financial area with capital to discuss. Now, I not only know a structure that exists, Brazil-based, but I understand the differences and know the structures that exist in the United States.
Wow, wonderful. And you in the past were a former dancer. What is that like? How was it?
I have been dancing since I was a teenager. One of the dreams I can mention is somewhat different, as it was a desire of my mother. My mom passed away when I was little, and my grandma brought that dream to me, something she adored. And I fell in love. I was enchanted by dance, by the structure, by the rules, by following the steps, step by step. I fell in love, had a wonderful mentor, an incredible coach who is Vivian, and I participated in competitions, great examples, until one day, as a good ballerina, I injured my foot. Then it became a choice to stop or continue with a lot of pain and suffering. But yes, those were beautiful years. And I can tell you that ballet gave me incredible discipline.
I wanted to ask you that.
Extraordinary. Really extraordinary. It's like any sport. When we understand his role. In my case, it was ballet. But I love Muay Thai, boxing, when we choose one sports. Here in the US, we have football, volleyball. All of this offers something special as we belong to a larger community. Alone, I often can't do anything. But I, in a group, am amazing.
I agree with you. My question was just that, and you answered it. What brought you to collaborate as a former dancer, CEO, CFO, and so many experiences in education, personal and emotional development, so you could dock at a safe harbor, which I see you possess a tremendous talent in financial mentoring, financial education, and teaching, etc. And this entire process has been creating something unique. And today, in a more simplified way, how have you been helping Brazilian immigrants here in the United States with all this experience in your current role as a mentor?
I believe the first step was to reflect on myself, my history, and identify my challenges. Thus, what I noticed in my journey was, I know a lot. I can make the right decisions. But it becomes difficult to make these decisions if I don't know what they are.
Sure.
Thus, it's similar in my journey with my clients. I begin, and for you, I advise you to start with education. Choose to educate yourself during the journey because we can live the extraordinary. We understand what makes sense for us by adhering to our principles and values. However, without knowing what I need to decide, it becomes very challenging to make the right decision. So, in that sense, it was, for me, the main foundation. We start with education. Financial education, how the system works here, what the major differences are from what we are used to regarding how the system operates. What can I take away so that I can make decisions? I recognize my financial objectives as I have one goal while you, Alexandra, have another. Everyone here who is watching has their own differences. Some may be alike, while others can be entirely different. I need to know this is for me, and then I can create the right strategy, so that I can finally enjoy the best part of what I believe about finances, which is to enjoy life.
That's great. It's a fact. Fact.
Because finance is a tool to help us in our daily lives. I find it amazing that I can take my family out for a day at Disney. It's truly extraordinary.
All of this is possible because you had a solid plan, the right attitude, and discipline. You responded to me in this first segment. A setup for what comes next in the second and third parts. You experienced many things. And one of them, to wrap up this block now, is about your time in Germany. How has your time in Germany impacted your life now?
I think my time in Germany brought the biggest means to confront my fears. I went to Germany. As a teen, I experienced high school in Germany. And living there, in a foreign land, with a culture
Totally different.
entirely different on my own, allowed me to understand. And I came to realize the power of courage. And I lived with fear, but allowed myself to live.
Awesome. Nice.
Because I think the big challenge is recognizing our fears and still doing what we must, despite the fear. What is the moment? You even mentioned emotional intelligence, right? Understanding the balance of how much fear is just holding me back. Holding me back versus I'm afraid, because this is making me pay attention to my surroundings, doing the right thing and living. So, my experience in Germany, I would say it was really having the courage to believe in myself and embrace the new.
Awesome. Guys, we are warming up this topic because now, in the next segment, we will talk about finances, business, and systemic aspects. All of this so that practically she can contribute to you. What can be done here and now based on this interview? What is the first step I need to take to gain the freedom she just mentioned? So, stay tuned. We'll return shortly. We are back with Business in America, and today, a very relevant topic, which is your freedom. My freedom. Financial freedom. Strategic planning. And for that, we have PRI here with us today. And PRI, as we talk here, I know there is a methodology, a path for us to understand the process and have an easier time achieving results. What's your method?
The approach begins with education as its foundation. Focusing on analyzing your personal situation. Then we start a chat like we have here, and I will understand what the important things are, the scenarios that are relevant to you. From there, considering your needs, challenges, and the identification of your current situation, I can generate the necessary content for you to educate yourself. And throughout the journey, as your counselor and mentor, I can direct you to achieve a thorough analysis of your situation. What does your current scenario look like? What truths or issues do you need to reconsider? Many times we struggle to grasp our budget. What am I actually spending? Is it only one case? Or do I need to understand that I should worry about the future regarding my retirement? So we bring this analysis together and start creating the strategy. Throughout this journey, we will align very specifically what your financial goal is, what your achievement goal is. And when I have this achievement goal, I can have the correct strategy and then get to the best part. As I said earlier, the greatest benefit is being able to enjoy utilizing money as a means to savor what is valuable to me, what genuinely holds value, and then actually possess that wealth. But not only financial wealth, but also the richness in all other areas where financial wealth can assist me greatly. And it helps me a lot. From taking trips, seeing family, purchasing my home, every detail that matters for my life.
In your view, what is the biggest mistake in the financial mindset of Latino entrepreneurs here in the United States?
I think that looking at all the situations of those I've assisted, including my own experiences, the greatest financial challenge we have is understanding the numbers clearly.
That's interesting.
Because many times we have goals, but they are not clear. The only method I have to monitor my objectives is to have clarity. I often say that my goal is to double my revenue. What does it mean to double? Double what for what? And many times I lack that clarity because I'm not worried about my current scenario. I don't even measure what I'm making. I don't see the numbers coming in. I perhaps only consider the gross income, not the net profit. All numbers are important.
All.
I need to have measurements, know the percentages, the analyses, and this will make a difference. So I would say that the biggest mistake is being afraid to confront the present moment, to truly see what is happening, and develop a financial strategic plan to reach our objective. Double what exactly? Are you looking to double your earnings? Which profit? What's the figure? Do you truly know how much you want to earn every month? Do you have that number clear? Do you know what you need to do to achieve that? I think this is the biggest challenge when we talk about entrepreneurship.
Not having a clear understanding of the numbers, etc. Now, entering another area where you are also an expert, and I know this, and I have helped many people. When it comes to limiting beliefs, what have you observed here about immigrants concerning limiting beliefs in your field?
What I often observe about limiting beliefs, Alexandre, is that we bring that baggage, almost seeming... Do you remember the past when we had those cartoons of an old man carrying a bag behind him or a heavy ball? It feels like that. We, as immigrants, end up bringing all our limiting children with us. I keep thinking back. My past experiences. Cash doesn't just appear. Without hard work, I won't have money. People who live life have no value. Thus, the sayings from our childhood are the limiting children that hold us back from shaping our future. I can even earn to make money because I work so many hours, but I'm exhausted. Or I learn, but because I'm fatigued, I spend a lot. Or I don't save because money has no value. So, the largest limiting children I observe are those from our past. We as foreigners have not just our limiting children, but we also adapt quite easily to the local children because we start to listen to others too. Thus, living from paycheck to paycheck is quite common here. I start to feel that it's normal, or I work hard, get my paycheck each week, my salary every 2 weeks, and spend everything.
Yes.
For the next step. So when I talk about limiting children, what I see very strongly is that I not only bring my past ones, but also the new ones. Because limiting children develop by repetition. Repetition. Due to strong impact, but through daily repetition. If I am listening every day on TV, on the radio, if I don't choose carefully, I end up causing even more pain.
PRI, how do you manage to reconcile all your baggage and financial techniques with the emotional intelligence you have when you assist people?
That's a very interesting question, Alexandre. How to achieve that separation? It doesn't exist. I am always attentive because when I talk about emotional intelligence, when we understand emotional intelligence, I realize that my decisions in the end will be through my emotions, especially with money. So there is no genuine separation. I can tell you that I am doing rationally for A, B, and C. It makes sense. But if I don't understand the emotions behind it, A, B, and C might make perfect sense, yet I won't follow the steps. Thus, I can say emotional intelligence aids me greatly to genuinely assist individuals effectively in terms of finances. Since rationally putting a spreadsheet here, I can reveal a perfect life to you, flawless. Yet if I don't comprehend your feelings, it will be difficult to succeed. Because I can inform you, Alexandre, you should set aside X% for your pension. But there's more to it.
Doesn't the majority struggle? They can't.
Because there are additional factors.
Yes, indeed.
If I don't grasp the reason for this necessity and fail to connect its emotional value, it will be hard for me to proceed with that action. Even if the action makes sense rationally, I need money in my future. Logically, it is sensible. But if it doesn't make sense emotionally, thus I perceive it as an integration. This enables indeed numerous clients to arrive at the core aspect, which is to enjoy. Because when we work on these aligned matters, an emotion is involved in the decision-making process. I can comprehend and navigate through it to make the right decisions, infusing that emotion
Yes.
in a manner.
Good. Like this. You know, Priscilla, we've been acquainted for several years now. In what way does it affect your faith in God? In your consultations, you blend things together, making your service quite distinctive. It's not pragmatic. It's not systematic in a box. You manage to use emotional intelligence, your experience, your discipline as a former dancer, a series of factors in a session. It all comes together, but there's also a special touch, which is your faith in God. How do you combine that?
Correct. For me, it feels very natural. Because when I speak of faith, I mean principles and values. I'm talking about what comes first. And that is my priority. So when I mention this, it's clearly me. And if I have that assurance, that decision, being respectful to others, because that's one of my principles, is respecting myself as I respect others, creates a natural movement of all moments. So it's not a challenge, it's not a complication, it's a natural part. I believe the main concern when discussing faith in God and conveying it clearly is realizing that I cannot to compel, yet what I can offer through my own example, how much I can impact change for my values.
And this is how you influence people, because everything you do there is to show paths, strategies. You are a strategist, because each person there is different. Do you serve more individuals or businesses, people or companies? How do you cater to both? It's separate. The methodology is the same, right? How does it work?
I assist both for the most part. Even when I deal with a company, it often connects to the individual. Therefore, most of my clients are individuals, as for the corporate ones. Inside the corporate, there are people. And in the end, we end up doing it separately, but they are individuals. When we talk about planning, it's different. The process we talked about at the start of this section is relevant for all, because I need to understand how to create the strategy, develop the analysis, educate myself. It will continue throughout the journey. There will be no difference in the procedure, but there will be a distinction in the strategic planning. What is significant for a person? When I mention individuals and corporations, the objectives change. The emotions shift. And so, I will adopt a more rational stance legally versus a much more emotional one in the personal context. Priscilla, explain a bit more. It got confusing, right? When discussing legal issues, I refer to maintaining focus, analyzing every detail, and ensuring clarity in situations where I might not want it. So bringing that reality, presenting the bare facts of what's occurring. When discussing individuals, I'm talking about highlighting what matters to you. Even if it may not always seem logical, rationally, emotionally, this will be significant. Thus, it's a challenge we must grasp throughout this journey. But when we live this journey, when we experience it, We stop just buying a product. And I begin to understand that it's a process, that I can attain even greater things.
Do you believe that financial independence starts in the mind? If the answer is yes, what kind of exercise, what type of dynamic, what tasks can those watching us do to unlock themselves?
I would say that she doesn't necessarily need to start with the mind. She needs to start with education. But the mind matters, is a fundamental part of that education. So, answering your second question, what exercises can we do at home in our daily lives? We can start doing them today. I believe that clarity is the most important aspect. What should I do to gain an understanding of money? Be friends with money. When we talk about money, I need to have friendship and relationship. Pri, what are you talking about? Is it having cash in your wallet? Bills? Physical money? Keeping your dollars in your wallet, knowing how to make payments, and understanding change rather than just using a phone or card. I need to have a relationship to understand how much I set aside. Even if at first I might need to go back to doing an exercise that is phenomenal for children, for example. Having your envelope, having your piggy bank, separating the money there. Because there I am creating a relationship, I am touching it, I am realizing that it has something physical, that it is not just a number. Especially nowadays, this tool is powerful because technology, which is wonderful, allows us to experience many different things. What have we lost? Touch. Understanding its value. This is a powerful tool. Another tool I see as crucial is the ability to perceive myself, acquiring experiences that I would like to live. Thus, visualization, the ability to visualize, brings this frequency so that I can emit it. I can only emit what I know. If I don't feed on what I know, I won't be able to transmit that. I will transmit my pain. So I need to start experiencing new things by means of visualization, watching films, looking up videos. The internet is fundamentally there. It brings images and allows me to live, to see myself. So I can start to visualize myself in that scene and begin to resonate with it. That moment, which for me, I begin to accept as something possible. And then we delve into a range of phenomenal tools. But if we were to use these two tools, one, having a relationship with money, and two, starting to see ourselves to vibrate, the power that wealth allows us, not only financial wealth, but also family trips, moments of pleasure, a restaurant, something simple. However, spending time with your spouse or partner will create a new version of yourself. Money will mean something different. After that, the following steps will become clearer.
And all of this relates to the feeling of scarcity, as we have such a strong scarcity mindset. And even though we are in America, no matter what, where capitalism flourishes, where things are amazing, scarcity still prevails. And why do people have such difficulty seeking help, for example, from you? One of the things I've heard is because it's expensive. But I ask, what do you mean expensive? Oh, because those who are finance specialists are very costly.
I believe the main challenge is that, firstly, it's not expensive. In fact, I'll tell you that one of my top mentors says just that. In the end, you'll realize the opposite. It's quite affordable if I knew all I was gaining. However, the major challenge I have encountered in my life, and I believe many others face, is the acceptance that I don't know everything, and that perhaps I need someone who has greater knowledge to help me embrace the extraordinary. Today, I am part of your mentorship. but embracing the idea of being in your mentorship has initiated a path of self-awareness, understanding that I require someone to take me further. So I see that this is the same issue in finance, especially when we talk about finances. We live with finances our entire lives. Since we were kids, we purchase our treats, our toys. We are always settling bills. Therefore, I believe I know.
Now is the moment to adopt a mindset, a metanoia, to transform your life here in America. And if you are already in this process, to keep evolving and encourage more individuals to experience your transformation, your metanoia, your financial independence. In the upcoming section, we will talk about practical matters, including what I can achieve with $100, $1,000, $100,000, $1 million, and what the initial step is, and the entire realm of opportunities that this nation offers us. So, stay right there. We'll return shortly. We're back again with the third block, discussing practical matters with my mentee, Pry, who is a finance mentor, who has a very interesting strategic vision so that you can have more freedom here in the United States of America, to help you live a genuinely satisfying, happy, and balanced life, so that you understand that life is much more than the scarcity our ancestors faced, or what you experienced not long ago. Live abundantly. Grasp the concept of abundance so you can aspire, why not, to opulence. For this, it is necessary to have qualified people, committed individuals with character, who have congruence between what they say and what they do. That's why when I choose someone to come on this program, I meet these criteria. Pry possesses these qualifications because managing money is quite complex and challenging. Because truly, a lack of clarity or not having the necessary prerequisites to handle money can be problematic. Here in the US of A, there's no forgiveness. So you need to go through a series of studies, authorizations, and certifications to get to where you are, Pry. And all of this I mentioned to move on to a practical matter. I'm listening to you. It's all good, Pri. I want to improve my financial life. It's a mess. I have no idea how much I make, how much I spend, or where I'm headed. Sometimes I have money, sometimes I don't. What's the first step, Pry?
The first step is to tackle something unpleasant, which is to look at your current situation. What does that mean? With paper and pen ready, and jot down each expense individually, including that little coffee you stopped to drink. Do you recall buying that gum? That water you bought? Everything must be noted down. Over time, this will become a bit easier, but at this initial moment, the first step is to bring your budget. The budget list is about bringing clarity to your expenses in your daily life. And a very common mistake when we talk about budget, because often when we discuss budget, I include miscellaneous items, and that's it. What are these miscellaneous items? I need to clarify this. I need to begin to understand whether these various items are taking me to my desired destination. Nope. I've assisted numerous individuals who realized when we made that initial impact of reviewing expenses, initially they didn't know where their money was going. And it's worth mentioning a very important tip. If you are married, if you are partners, work on this tool as a team. Even if one partner handles the finances more than the other, it's important that both sit down in a meeting, and I suggest starting weekly until you have a very good flow, switch to monthly. But this should occur regularly, at least once a month as a couple, You need a time to assess your finances. The main issue is to find that moment and clarify what these miscellaneous expenses are. Miscellaneous expenses can mean one thing to you and something different to me. For example, miscellaneous items could refer to purchasing clothing for someone, but you as the interviewer needs a polished wardrobe.
Yes.
And then you start facing challenges. So initially, I think that the first step is to get out.
Yes.
To leave my current state, I must do something that is quite challenging.
And many individuals are embarrassed to reveal themselves, right? I won't talk to Pry because I have to bare my life to her, feeling completely exposed, right? Because they will have to disclose all their flaws, which will be visible, right? And this also prevents people from reaching out to you because of their shame? I get it.
I see that for many people, yes.
Is it?
Unfortunately, when we talk about recognizing pain, it's not that interesting. Like individuals who are about to make a decision, if I need to enhance myself, either I will be in a lot of pain, or I might not be able to see that pain. Unfortunately, the sooner I take steps to address that situation, if there is something that needs healing, I can clean it up at the beginning, or from that time when all is well, I can jump to the next steps to start building this abundance in my life.
The question I ask is, everyone, what you do today? You spoke about financial education and more, but you do much more than that, much more. You educate, you put money into the stock market, you manage funds, you increase your account balance. Give me a bit of insight, brief me, provide a summary of all that you do.
We start with education. That's why I said the first step is a process until we create the right strategies. There are various financial strategies that are legal here in the United States, worldwide, and beneficial for all of us. There are several tools we can use. I can support you with each one, from investments to protections and insurances, which are important in our daily lives, in the manner we create our financial future. Thus, the main thing will be to genuinely grasp what your objective is, because each of these types of tools that exist, think of it like being at Home Depot or a building supply store, for example. I have many aisles filled with various products. The financial market is the same. I have many tools. If I want a hammer,
How many?
How many hammers are in a store?
Everything that is. Like, for
Which objectives? A man.
Indeed.
And a screwdriver. Others, small, large, chubby, skinny. And I, folks, am terrible with construction materials, but I know there are many.
Yes, yes.
Financial products are similar.
Look,
I need to know what I want to achieve. If I want to put a frame on the wall, will I choose the screwdriver?
understood. Pry.
I need to know that the screwdriver isn't the right choice. Which one will it be? A hammer. Now, which hammer? And then I go in and understand, buy this. And when it comes to finance, it's the same thing. That's why it's important, as you mentioned, to choose the right people to accompany you on this journey. Because all products, including the hammer, including the screwdriver, have positives, good things that are functional, and they have negatives. A screwdriver isn't effective for driving a nail into the wall. It can do it, though. I'm not sure if you've tried this, but I've already done that. I twisted the screwdriver and kept hitting the wall. Did I do it correctly? Was it fast? Was it precise? The answer was no. The same goes for financial products. Therefore, I must select the appropriate tool for this. And for that, the best way is when we are on our journey. because we understand what our goals are. What is your level of risk tolerance? One very important thing is that I need to understand how your beliefs, including your limiting beliefs, impact your factor, financial risk. All these steps are important in your journey, so there are various products. The market is crowded, and I need to remember everyone has positives, and know that positives exist. Also has negatives. I must learn from my negatives and how to mitigate them differently, or how I eliminate the negatives.
How can we do that? For example, can you share a case with me? Of a person? Maybe they were skeptical or not, or in doubt, or eager for someone to help. But it worked. Their life transformed. Their life changed. Is there a case that really moved you?
I have a few.
A few? How nice.
I have some, Alexandra, and I can say that without mentioning
I don't
names
have any.
because I can't do that. But what I can say is that when we talk about cases, lives were transformed, creating a legacy. So the chance to transform a couple's life, but also seeing the transformation of what is happening in the children's lives
Sure.
of the couple.
Wow. Uh-huh.
Triplets. Triplets who are being significantly impacted because the parents are being impacted, changing the way and how this is creating the financial foundation so that when their moment arrives, they aren't impacted. Because the scenario, the planning, financial, it extends far beyond merely paying bills. It encompasses much more than just making your money grow. It has many consequences, including working in partnership with accounting.
Yes?
Because if I don't work all these pieces of the financial puzzle together, all that I've built on one side, I may lose on the other.
Doesn't make sense anymore. And so, what is your vision of the future today? For the Brazilian community in the U.S.? In this financial sector, what are your feelings about Brazilians that is receiving more information about what you do? There is a trend for them to change these attitudes, to seek more. How do you view this? Or are you still far removed?
It really depends on each person, as it will be. In making a choice, the Brazilian community must choose to live the genuine metanoia, to embrace this inner revolution, to let go of who I am, to genuinely, to evolve into this new self and make use of the tools available. So at this current moment, while I don't see people making this bigger decision, to be okay, seeking help is beneficial, having a coach is common. This is a cultural aspect that Americans grow up with. You have a math coach, a sports coach, your music coach, your trainer. You have someone alongside you on this journey. For how long? Always. If you have children in school, for example, you see, typically you understand what it signifies.
Yes.
And maybe for several reasons. Regarding the meaning of a word, we hinder ourselves from seeking assistance. Thus, I realize that as long as we don't break free from this habit of thinking we know enough and asking for help, I progress more and...
Indeed. All things change, right?
All changes.
Your closing thoughts, Pry. Please share a message for the Brazilian community here. or Hispanic or American community you address. Ultimately, these are your main words, your concluding thoughts in this first interview on business in America. Go ahead.
I enjoyed being here with you, Alexandre, and with everyone watching from home. And I think the main factor I see as important when we talk about the financial scenario is genuinely grasping our starting point where we currently stand. So, make the choice to live the journey of financial strategic planning. Develop this process step by step so that you can create the extraordinary. Embrace your journey. Embrace yourself. Throw yourself into this transformation. Permit yourself to undergo the metanoia, and you will experience an abundance remarkable.
Pri, thank you so much. May people seek you out. Your contact information has been shared. They will stay in touch. They want to learn more. It is essential for them to gain a deeper understanding of themselves, to undergo this significant change, and to have mentors who can guide them through this journey. No one is good at everything, and we need people who are qualified and competent to elevate us to another level. Pri, thank you very much. And to you at home, thank you for your audience, and thank you for understanding the purpose of this program. We aim to offer you something useful that broadens your perspective, so that you truly develop a significant transformation within yourself. This is urgent. It cannot wait until tomorrow. It was meant for yesterday, so act now. Thank you very much. A big hug. God bless everyone, and Business in America will see you in the next program. Until then, bye.